This is my life lately. A lot has been happening behind the scenes, and today I'll bring you to speed on what I've been doing so far. It has been 10 months since I moved to Kajiado, and I've not been able to do any major construction, but I think it's time I started. This is one of the containers I moved with to Kajiado. It was a client's project, but they went MIA on me. I've had them as stores for the longest, hoping that they would show up and pick their containers. It has been almost 3 years, and I think now is time to make good use of them. With the short rains expected in a few days, I decided to do a roof over this caravan to stop any further water damage as I think of how I'm going to renovate it. I'm not yet ready for the renovations, but I think a roof over it would do it some good. I can also use the roof to increase my water harvesting capacity. This caravan was used or has been used as a store for the longest since I moved here. I used it to load up and store some of the materials I had in my previous location. I have not yet sorted my power source to help, especially with welding, and as of now, I'm working with a generator that has been acting up over the past few days, but that's what I need to work with at the moment. I am not yet connected to the grid. My solar system is not powerful enough to do anything major, not even use a drill, and while I still need to do a bit of construction, I have to make do with a generator. It's an expensive option, I know, but so is setting up any alternative that will help me do welding the same way I'm doing right now. And in as much as it's not the most sustainable option at the moment, it is what I have, and sometimes you have to start with what you have as you plan for what you'd want. I'm still investing on landscaping. That has turned out to be my biggest investment since I moved off-grid. Something that I think I need to have it done before I can think of any other thing, and that's why I'm giving it priority. At the same time, I'm also trying to expand the front part of my house to make it more comfortable. I recently got a few birds from 2 sources to try set up my poultry farm. They are mainly for my own consumption, just for eggs and meat when I need to. And before I can mix the two groups of flock, we need to medicate them. You can see they don't have proper housing, and so we were also trying to set up a chicken coop to accommodate the two groups of birds. And while we were trying to clear up the space where we intended to set up the chicken coop, we had a little accident. One of us tried to clear the space by fire. Something that might have sounded smart at the moment, trying to make work easier, right? But the fire quickly got out of hand and we almost lost control of it. It almost got to our neighbors, and if it did, then we wouldn't be able to contain it. Good thing we have good neighbors who came from different sides and help control the fire. On the bright side, we found the eggs that we thought were not being laid. Remember the road we dug out by accident? Now it's time to make it part of the master plan. And so the idea is to create barriers on both sides to give this space a bit of definition. It helps to have a builder for a brother. This is my firstborn brother and he has come to the rescue. He's helping me build the chicken coop. He's also a mason and will be helping me a lot from this part on this project. We have a bit of masonry that needs to be done all through the property, and he is the best person to handle my project, especially at this point. I did a video a few weeks back on the importance of family, especially if you choose to live off-grid. This is one of those benefits you get from family. They come through when you really need it. And it's also good to work with family because they understand how you like your things. And it was also good to have them express their expertise on your projects. Who else will do it if not your own blood? And I'm blessed to have this brother of mine come in and help me with this construction. I also needed a bit of motivation, and seeing him build this whole chicken coop on his own without any help really showed me that if we put our mind to it, we can achieve that which we are so much afraid of. He was able to set it up from ground up all by himself with no help at all. Back to this container story. As I clean it up to convert it to an accommodation unit for my tradesmen, or what we call here in Kenya, fundis, a client commissioned us to supply 3 containers to their site somewhere in Nairobi sometime in November 2024. And we had a timeline on when we should deliver these containers. We signed our contracts, we did the preliminaries, and we were ready to start. The client went ahead, made a deposit, and so according to our contract, we were ready to start construction. The first few weeks were very nice. Client was communicating, we were up to our schedule. Then it got to a point we needed to do grounds work. And how we do it, when we start on grounds work, we also try finish up on the containers on site so that once the container is ready, we can carry the containers to site without wasting a lot of time. We also understand that most clients usually have a time crunch, and that a good percentage of people who choose to build with containers are very time conscious, especially on projects that are, would I say, commercial based, containers that would be used for commercial purposes or for companies and not necessarily for personal use like container homes. These projects usually are very time conscious, and most times you have deadlines. This site we were to take these containers to was a leased piece of land, and our client had a bit of an arrangement with their own landlord, something that they went against. So that meant that this project needed to halt. We weren't able to deliver these containers to that particular site, and so we went on a break. We tried extending grace to clients so that they can try find an alternative, because we were already at 90% of this project. As you can see, everything was done. We had done the electricals, we had installed the windows, and we had done insulation, padding, and tiling on the floor. What needed to be done was to fit glass doors, which we had already ordered, and they are still at the supplier's shop 3 years later, and do the final bit that is usually done on site once you're ready to hand over the project, and that is the final paintwork. So we were at 90% done. We had already done the grounds work, and we had already locked in a date to deliver this container. Then the other landlord chose to halt the project. We were no longer able to deliver these containers to that site. And so after a few discussions, we chose to extend grace and give them a little bit of time to help them figure out. Usually, once we as a company are done with the construction and the delay comes from the client side, then we transfer storage charges that is charged per day to the client. But because we understood this was something they had not foreseen, we gave them a few months grace period to find either a different location or to work things out with their landlord as they hope on delivering this, because we also needed to set this container up and just finish it once it got to site. Then 3 months got to an year. We were sending emails to just try establish how far the discussions were with the other client. With the landlord. They had locked in an alternative site that was communicated to us, but somehow I think that too did not work. So we were not able to even deliver to the other location. But our client did something unfortunate. They just stopped responding. We would send emails, and those emails will go unanswered. And now it got to a point now we were feeling the burn, because for us to rush this project to where it was, it meant that we had to invest a bit of money from our end to help fast track the project. Also, containers are not meant to stay at the yard for too long, especially when they are not fully fabricated. Like in this case, we had done windows, but we had not done doors. That meant when this container is exposed to weather with a lot of rains and a lot of moisture and dust getting into the container, they are bound to experience a bit of damages. If you can see clearly from this point, you can tell that this container had already started experiencing a bit of damages. And that is something we try to avoid by rushing projects and making sure they are done, completed, sealed. And if a client chooses to lock them up to use them later, then the damages are very minimal. All you need to do is just come in, remove some cobwebs, sweep it up, and it's good to go. But if it's left at this stage, then it means instead of finishing it up, you'll be coming up and doing corrections. Either you'll start replacing gypsum boards, or you'll start replacing some fittings, or you'll start repainting, or tiles will be exposed too much to the sun that they'll start popping. There is a little bit that would go wrong. Also, when they are in a yard, they are bound to be moved from one point to another, meaning that this constant movement, accidents can happen. A container can be destroyed by a forklift, or whatever. A lot can happen. And so what we try to do is, once we are done with a project, we hope to deliver it as fast as possible. We clearly communicated that after the grace period, then we will start applying storage charges. But it took us quite a bit before we could get some tangible response from the client. And so we were not able to agree. We needed to introduce a third party to help us agree. And we started the process, but somehow the clients chose to go quiet again. We are now at year 3. For more than 1 year, we've not heard from the client. We've had to move these containers from Syokimau. They are now in Kajiado. The damages are now a little bit extensive. And now, just to not lose complete value of these containers, to at least make them serve something, because anyways, it's not helping anyone if they sit the way they are sitting right now. And so as we wait for them to come pick their containers that we will gladly release to them once we have settled the pending bills, I think it is wise to make use of them just to help them not go through further damages. And now I'm using these containers, especially this 20-foot one, as an accommodation unit for the tradesmen. And this will also help with constant cleaning. At least we will help maintain it and keep them safe for the client until when they're ready to come collect their containers. This house is finally taking shape. It has been a long time coming, designing and redesigning this space to just get the visual of what I want it to be. And seeing it taking shape the way it is currently gives me a lot of joy. And I can't wait to see how beautiful this off-grid space would be. I believe it will be one of the very first off-grid spaces that is also very sustainable conscious. The decisions that I make in this space are meant to be very thoughtful, very environmentally friendly, and just be one with nature. When I finally start seeing what off-grid living actually looks like in Africa through the systems that I'll put in place, I think I'll be the happiest designer ever. We also changed the main gate from a hinge gate to a sliding gate. This gate is one of my most beautiful creations. It is made out of container cutouts, and you can tell by how much I am pulling it that this is a very heavy gate. It is for that same reason that we chose to change it from a hinge gate to a sliding gate. Because of the weight, if we had it as a hinge gate for too long, it would detach from the bushes. The weight was just a little too much. And so the best solution was to convert it to a sliding gate. With that part done, there is still a lot to be done on this space. I have not shown you everything I've been able to do, and hopefully I will be updating you slowly as we move. If you've not subscribed to this channel, I share this content to encourage someone who's also thinking of off-grid living. And I might not be able to give all the information at once, and so instead of waiting for when I am completely ready to start telling you about my process, I have chosen to carry you through my process with every step that I take all through this construction. So if you've not subscribed, maybe this is a good reason for you to subscribe. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share. Also, don't forget to leave your comments. I love reading from you guys. It makes me feel like I am talking to an audience that is alive, and I'm not just sharing content for the sake of it. You have been so supportive. We are currently at 48,000 subscribers. Our dream was to hit 100,000 subscribers before now, but I am so blessed to have each and every one of you here. I do not take you guys for granted. I count each and every one of you as a blessing. If you've not subscribed, please join the family. Then maybe we can go back to the house tours that you guys love so much. I'm also thinking, should we add a farming segment to the content that we do?